How are we all? Now, got a bit of a plan going for today. Got to go head out to work, pick up a heap of parts off of parts cars. So my best mate will be coming with me to do that. Hoping to get that done within a couple of hours so we can get back here. We're going to finish chopping the roof off at the moment. The back half of it is it's just sitting there. It's got a couple of little tacks along here just to keep it from just folding in the middle and dropping inside the body. So I'm going to chop the A pillars. I'm planning on doing, I believe I've got 1 inch at the moment, but I think I might go a little bit more because going to be a 3-window, I don't want the roof to sit too high. I want it to look somewhat factory, but I don't want it to look like a fucking bubble. So I think I might actually go maybe 2 inches out of the front pillars. So we'll come back after picking up the parts. Me and Dylan are going to measure out the pillars, cut the A pillars out, well, cut the roof off, cut out the sections we don't want. By then, at the same time, hopefully the roof will be split in half again. So measure what I've already got going on here and measure it from the point of the structure in the C pillar and the B pillar, measure the difference. So that's how far we've got to bring the roof forward, take that out of the roof, bring the back up to the front, tack a roll in. We're only working in a tiny shed, so we'll roll it out down the driveway so we can get a good look at it, see if it looks alright. If it doesn't look right, bring it back in, keep cutting, do whatever we've got to do. That's basically what I do every time I've got to do something to this. I've got to roll it all the way out there, get a good look at it. So far it's been pretty good. The proportions are actually quite good at the moment, but I just don't want a hard top, which is what it is currently. Yeah, I just think it'd look pretty cool as a 3-window, so that's what we're going to go with. As projects sit, plans change. Because you get time to think and come up with ideas. I'm going to put a couple of tacks in the centre of the roof skin on the back before we go anywhere with the roof, I think. I don't know if the roof will want to try and fold because the back is obviously all, like the back window, it's all tacked in around the top, but it's welded in down the bottom. So it shouldn't go anywhere, and that's a pretty thick piece of steel in there. But just in case, I think we might run a couple of tacks down the centre of the roof and maybe even brace across the center, the roof at the back section. The front section won't be. The front section's pretty tough. But the back section is where it's all been, sectioned out and all that bullshit. So yeah, that's the plan of attack. So I'm gonna go round up some tools, go out, grab these bits, come back, give the shed a quick tidy up because I have shit everywhere. I've got beer bottles everywhere that I've got to throw out. air bottles, just shit. I come out here all the time, and I don't come out here all the time to work, and that's the worst part. I come out here to just relax. So it ends up a mess, but not a mess from working. It becomes a mess from just having drinks or whatever. So I should probably get out of that habit, because I'm gonna really start going hard on this thing this year. We've also got I'm going to measure this skin right here that I'm going to use as the patch for the quarter. Measure that for the other side, cut it all out for the other side, get it tacked in so I can get the pillar into place, because this is roughly what I'm basing the pillar distance, how much I'm going to move it on the other side. It's basically what I'm measuring it off. So then the quarters should be the same, so the pillars should be in the same spot. It's not a big deal if they're a tiny bit out or whatever. It's a custom car, and if you've ever seen full custom builds where there's metalwork involved and stuff like that, unless you got, you know, stamps and stuff like that and patterns for absolutely everything, and you get everything just spot on, nothing is the same. No two parts are the same. Like these pillar caps that I made, that one's not a cap anymore, so that one's welded in, but that one at the moment is just capping the old pillar. So I'm going to cut it, tack it in, cut it, tack it in, and that's how you get the lines right. But yeah, going to you. So yeah, that's it. I'll cut this one, and you can start doing that one once I'm done. Right.
Are we using that?
Yep.
Just that? Not using the grinder at all?
No, not with this. Oh yeah, you want to like put that jack under it with the heat steel on top.
Oh, so we do need the jack.
No, you know what, we don't. We just need you inside there holding it.
I'm not getting inside. I'll just hold it. Now maybe you should get in. You can. Good thing is, there's so much less room to obstinate. What? Obstinate means going through obstacles.
Hold on, ready? Fuck. Oh, go. Get it as straight as you can. On the bottom of that tape line, yeah? We're off cut.
Yeah. Right, cut that section.
Well, you should take photos of it as like this, so I can add it to this video. Whoa! Alright, let's bring it up and see how it matches. Lined up, yours lined up. How far off here? Line yours up. Bring it back to what high structural area on the car. Put the roof there.
We'll make a sit through
I can't believe this cut the roof off my fucking car. There we go.
This is one wire, just tag along. it's like really cramped. Do you know how fucking hard it is to hurry up on this side of the car? And I'm shaking. Yeah, I don't know where to grab this one from to not cut myself. Anyway. Just grab it. Just grab it. Hey. Underneath. Bring it up. Bring it up. Alright, set your car up again. Now I'm going to move my side back.
Well, on Saturday we got a me and my mate Dylan got a fair bit of work done on the car. We started off the morning stripping some parts off a couple of the parked cars we had, not parts cars that I have, stored at work. I didn't realise throughout the day until it had, until I went to either move the camera when I remembered that it was even there, or whenever my phone would go off or something, that it actually cuts the film. Not the film, but the recording, I suppose you'd call it. So I got a couple of notifications that cut the recording. I forgot the thing was even there. So for a long time there, it had cut the recording and I didn't see it for hours at a time. So that's not good. I also should get into the habit of moving around with it and showing what we're actually doing while we're doing it. But I'm just not used to recording while I'm working, so something to get used to, I suppose. You know, just I'll work it out as I go. That's what it's all about. But I'll show you what we've accomplished somewhat. Now, what I've done is, I don't know how to flip this around. We've moved the roof forward to where I wanted it. We've got the pillars. That pillar is somewhat in, it's tacked down the bottom. It was tacked up top, but as we were screwing around trying to join parts of the roof back together with clamps, we pulled it out, and it has come off of that pillar to tack there, but that's alright. It's just a matter of pushing it back in, tacking it back up. Once that's 100% set, I can weld in down the bottom properly. I'll get this section here of the roof set up to weld straight onto the top of that pillar. This one is roughly where we want it. We chopped the roof 2 inches, so I've got to clean all them up, so I can set these flat, weld them in. It's not so low that it doesn't look factory, but it's low enough that if you know the car, if you know these cars, you know it's been chopped. The thing is, I didn't want it to be where it was, sort of stock height, and then look like it had one just continuous bubble as a roof. I wanted it to flatten out and kind of flow into the back, and that's sort of what we've accomplished at the moment. You can see that it needs a little bit of tweaking, but that's not hard. There's not much play in the roof, so I'm gonna have to put a slice here, and manipulate the pillars to line them up, but that's not a big job. It's fairly simple. Just to give you a rough idea of how much 2 inches has changed it, here's the original glass. Now, you'd think of it, that's sitting on the lip for the seal, but the glass is meant to sit like that, because you got to have the seal in between the glass and that lip, obviously. But just, you know, ease of holding it, that is sitting on that lip. That's how much the roof's come down. So we're gonna have to chop the glass a little bit, which I already knew I would have to do. I've got a few extra windscreens we pulled out of the parts cars, just in case, you know, I'm cutting all my own glass. If one breaks or if I stuff up, then I would like to have spares, so I've got spares. That catwalk area, I'm unsure what I'm going to do with it yet. I did have, we pushed it out, had it stood back, had a look at it. Now this was fine when the roof ended here. Had a little bit of a difference in curve to the original panel, but it would have filled out quite easily. But now, because it's going to be obviously longer, it's that distance again. If I was to, it'd run up into there. And that sits the window too low on the body for me. Not only that, it'd really emphasise this, it'll look up the ski jump. So I'm going to slice this back in here on both sides. Probably give it a slice in the back here. And I'll try and tuck that inside the quarter. And then put a couple of tacks, and then as I want to weld it up, I'll slice it flush, tack it, slice flush, tack it, and you know, we'll go about it like that. And then I'm thinking for this area, instead of making a new piece like I've done with this, because that was a pain to make. This is 3 pieces. It's got a cap here, a cap on the other side, which to get them the same it's actually a bit of a challenge. The same within reason, like they're never going to be identical, but you know that was a bit of an ordeal, that was. But if I'm thinking I might be able to make it out of one piece. I've got a roof skin out there in the trailer, and I'm thinking that if I find the right part of the roof skin that kind of has the right curve in it, it's already got the curve down here. And if I might have to section it in the center and manipulate it a little bit, but for the most part the curve will be right. And you know, obviously at the end, if it's not 100%, if it's got a little bit of a whoop in it or whatever, I can pull it out, try again, or fill it out. If it's nothing too catastrophic, I can fill it out and get it right. And yeah, you can see that's got a bit of a bend in it right there. That's just because that pillar's moved and it's pulled that side of the roof closer to the front. So that pillar cap hasn't been welded in yet. So obviously that's gonna move around a touch, but yeah, here's what it is. Ignore these. I was, you know, looks messy, but it's sort of what you get with flux core. When you grind it all back, it's not too bad, and it is stronger than what people think. Yeah, that's sort of where we're at the moment. I've got to obviously get the roof skin roughly where I want it after the pillars are done 100%, and then same as on the back, you just you tack it down, zip, tack, and get it all that way it all matches up. For the inside, I was thinking about actually moving that firewall forward, but then I thought, I've got that much space here, I don't need the boot to be that big. You know, this is way in the future from now, but just while I'm thinking of it, I'll share it. But I'll leave that as it is. I'll use that as a brace for the quarters, because the quarters are never going to move while that firewall's in there. And that firewall was put in there when it was all caged and everything, and had holes and stuff in it or whatever for the cage to go through. I think they needed that for regulations and stuff like that when the bloke wanted to race it years ago. So that it's built pretty strong. I'll get into the boot at some point and I'll show you what's being done in there. Nothing special, it's just the way they've braced the back of this firewall, and you know, just little bits and pieces. Other than that, the boot floor is stock for now. But yeah, so I'll keep that as is, and then I'll build off of that to build a like a, I suppose in America they call it a tonneau cover. When they on the back of our utes is what we use tonneau covers for, but they use them That's what they call them when they go from, you know, base of the back window covering the back seat area where the back seat would be. That's what they call it over there. So if anyone American sees it, they know what I'm talking about. I'm going to bring that from there because that'll be, I've got to build under there anyway. So I'm going to build off of that. I'm going to brace the pillars into that back firewall. I'm going to have a brace going from pillar to pillar so they can't move this way, which they never would with the roof all welded up anyway, but just in case, I'd like to make it stronger than what it already was. So I'm going to have the brace from pillar to pillar. I'm going to build, I'll get my old man to do it because he's the woodworker. I'll get him to build me a parcel shelf that comes to the brace and then down. I'm thinking I'll keep the back seat base because I can build off of that for storage. I can cut the bottom out of it so I have access right down to the floor. I'll leave a section in the center so it's divided, and I'll put a couple of lids on it so I've got like tool storage. I'll put a spare wheel holder in here. I'll build it off of the firewall with a plate and bolt it to the firewall. So then I've got a spare wheel not in the boot, so then the boot is free, it's clean, and I can use that for other stuff. But the amount of storage I could have behind there, I think that's a good use of that space instead of just blanking it off and forgetting about it. You know, so I'll have storage under where the backseat base used to be. I'll have a spare wheel holder, and then storage. I can stack it up as high as this if I wanted to. You know, I think that'll be a good use of that space. That way it's being used. So yeah, that's basically where we're at the moment. I started this video on the Saturday. It's currently the Monday. I'm off work at the minute because I'm really not feeling too good. Had a horrible day yesterday being crook, and kind of carried over today. Not as bad, but you know, when I'm a truck driver, I don't really want to be going to work too crook. That's a bit of a hazard. But I just today wanted to update on this and explain why the video will be so choppy. It's because I keep forgetting I'm recording and forget the camera's there. I forget to move it around. I forget to show what we're doing. So yeah, I'm pretty useless at the technology side of things, and so yeah, but that's where we're at the moment. I'll make sure both window frames are the same before I go too much further into it, because I've still got to spread this a little bit from the chop, so both window frames would be a little bit iffy at the moment. We'll have to get them exact, tack it in. This will be welded in here. Once I get it tacked on the inside and everything, I can then slice the tacks here, get the door off, tack it in there, weld it up, get it all nice and finished on both sides, and the pillars welded in, and then I'll have to find a way to make all this flow once I've got that in there. So yeah, but one I'm having to repair, you'll see in the video me repairing that pillar. The bottom of it was, because that whole side, that whole sill is rusted out. I'll have to repair it. So I've rebuilt the bottom of that pillar because, well, necessity really. I did have this pillar here, which is a good one. I left all the inside of the pillar all intact, so I could salvage what I needed out of it. But I didn't realise this section is really cool. This section here, this is off a much earlier car than mine. That's blended where the door is, whereas mine is completely flat. And I thought, well, that's easy enough to rectify on my pillars. I mean, I only need
this much of it anyway. That would have been a nice touch, I think. But these were different. The door mechanisms are different. And on my car, I like mine better. I can't get these off, unfortunately. I don't want to drill them off, and then it's also the fact that mine don't line up the same, and obviously you've got plates and everything in behind there to hold it all steady, and I can't get in there. I wasn't going to cut this section of the pillar out where the door closes and weld that back in, because after having the door open and close, you know, 1,000 times, it's just going to crack out anyway, and I'll be forever chasing it to repair it. It's not worth doing. So, but I've always got something if I need something there. You know, like bits and pieces off different part cars. I'll be using these sections out of these doors. This flat section back I'll be using, besides where the door handle goes. The door bottoms themselves, I have a couple of good doors and a couple of shag doors, but for the most part these doors are okay. A little bit of rust in them, but I need the bottoms for extending mine, boot lids and whatnot. So I got a whole new back section here, because mine was rolled under back when it was first built. You know, the street rod days where everybody was making roll pans and all that ugly stuff that I don't like. But yeah, there's the bench for it. I've got to move that and cover it up, because for a nearly 80-year-old seat, that's in not bad condition. I should cover that up. I've got two bonnets here, which I'm going to use for obviously my bonnet. Still trying to find an effective and efficient way of actually stretching that bonnet out, because the way I've done two of them already hasn't worked out for me. But I'll work it out. If not, I'll find a couple more bonnets, which no doubt I'll have to get a few more parts cars for, because apparently you can't just buy panels for these things. You've got to buy a whole body car. So they're not an overly common car, so people aren't really parting them out. When you find one, you get a whole car. Luckily for me, I'm on my third free parts car. So there's another door in there. I believe I still have two more doors to grab. Spare back window. But yeah, that's the roof skin, and I'm thinking that might have the right curves in it for that catwalk area somewhere along the skin. So we might use that yet. Yeah, still unsure about what I'm going to do with the front end. I know that I have another grill piece to go on it, just this section here, because I accidentally nicked it with the grinder. This one, I've got to fix this thing here, but what I'm going to do is these bars are going. I'm planning on, I want to trim this down about here, just to bring this top bar the same distance as what these are. So you can see the difference. And from the rendering where I stuffed around with it, it gives it a bit of a very subtle but noticeable look, if you get what I mean. So I can bring that down, and I'll have to make a filler for in here, just because that'll be a bit bigger. But that's no issue. Actually, I might have some wiggle room behind there anyway. I think I do. Yeah, should be right. I'll work something out. But yeah, we might even whip the front end off at some point, and so we can get into the engine, because at the moment the bonnet's flimsy. I don't really want to be opening and closing it before I need to, in case I need bits from it and I break something. But yeah, might be able to see some of it. It's just, you know, a 6-cylinder, twin carby. You see independent front suspension. It's all braced into the firewall, and you know, disc brakes. And, yeah, If anyone needs some 36 Ford bonnet sides, just put a comment. Even if you don't need them, you just want them. I don't need them. I was going to end up cutting the flutes out of them, which I've seen what 36 parts go for now, so I don't really want to do that. I'd rather just give them to someone that can use them. This one, that lip is gone off of it. I mocked up a cover for it, the wheel cover. So if anyone wants that, they can take that too, so they can try and salvage that. Yeah, they're free for anyone who can use them. They have been cut here, tacked up, so that still has the back lip on it. So they are salvageable. They are pretty straight too. But yeah, 36 Ford or 35. I believe they're 36. They're meant to have the chrome trims along here. But they're free. Anyone you can use them. In Australia, in Victoria, because I'm not posting them because they are flimsy as shit. If you want them, you come and grab them. In Australia, nowhere else in the world, because once again, I'm not posting them. Yeah, that's everything. Let's. Oh shit. Yeah. Well, that's the update. Just thought I butchered the video on Saturday multiple times by accident. So thought I'll clear that up, give a bit of an update. I will, as I'm learning this, go around as I'm doing things and show what I'm actually doing when I'm doing it, instead of just seeing the camera somewhere and having it so you're watching from a distance. So I would like to show what I'm doing so it doesn't look like I'm just fucking butchering. You know, so I'm sure that's what it looks like, especially in the first video, but look, it's not pretty, but I've got a fair idea of what I'm doing. It looks ugly because I cannot for the life of me cut a fucking straight line. Even when I draw a straight line, I still can't cut along it, but you know, my brain's a bit wonky. And obviously, like, when you're welding with a gasless, everything looks bloody ugly, so I'm sure that was another thought to the last video and to this video now that I'm actually showing them. But I mean, it penetrates, it holds, it's as good as any other welding. It just looks ugly, but once you grind it off, it's fine. It does the job. But yeah, that's it. Oh Jesus. Now what I've done here is, this is the most recent photo of the car. I'll show you an actual photo of it. If I go into photos would help. Now this one, if you have a look at that, said it's still not 100%. It doesn't look right proportionally right here. So if I go into this, I've moved that forward maybe 2.5 inches. So the pillar forward about 2.5 inches. You can see the faint line of where it was right here. Somewhere in the middle there is where the door jamb was. Obviously filled in the gaps for the door. Ignore the front end. We're only looking at this half of the car at the moment. And because I've done that, I brought this forward, but flattened this out a little bit more, which gives it a really nice look. It kind of, you know, I don't know how to describe it. It just looks nice. All right. Obviously, you know, finished all the catwalk area. That looks alright, you know, no ski jumps in there. It's just nice and flat-ish. Nice and curved, I should say. Flattened out, nice and curved. It makes no sense, but it makes sense. And the way they built it years ago, they rolled the back guards under and made a roll pan for it, and you can see where I've edited the photo. It comes down here, and that's way lower than what the sills would be. I've still got to repair the sill. It's got like a small running board that goes under there, and it's only, you can see that line there to there, so it would have hung down a lot lower, which does not look nice. And I wanted to cut these anyway to the original size of the guards, of what they were originally, but instead what I've come up with here is if I take a section out, raise the bottom up, so I don't have to cut the roll pan off, it's just raised up. I'll still have the roll pan at the back, but very tight curve on it. And what I've also done is, if you have a look on here, the back just looks very stumpy. It won't blend with the way I've got the roof line. And I thought I can section this area here, flatten it out a bit, which make it look a bit longer, but then this has still a very sharp drop. Well, I thought to fix that, to remedy that, I can kind of drop this here, but then sort of extend the whole lot out, and that's a hell of a lot of work. But then I started thinking, you know, late 30s cars, early 40s cars, the back guards or fenders, depending wherever you're watching this, they always come past the boot line, and I really like that look. A bit more streamlined. It's still got the sharp drop on the boot, but with the extended guards, it looks really nice. So then I had a look at this and thought, how can I do it? Well, I've got extra guards. I'll cut this section out of one of the other guards so I can make a cap, tack it on where I want it so it extends out further, and then through here I'll cut a line down here, kind of tweak that out a bit so it becomes longer, tweak it out, make a cap or whatever I've got to do to go over the top, because I was going to weld these to the body anyway, so it's seamless. If anything ever happens to it, and obviously it's a pain in the ass to pull it off and repair it, but I didn't want, you know, a gap here where it bolts on, because you can't really buy these specifically for this car. Nobody reproduces them, and these are all chewed up anyway, so I was just going to do away with that. I was also going to widen the guards a couple of inches, but I don't know about that now. We'll see how it goes. But so yeah, I'm going to try and kick that out by cutting this out up here, and cutting along here, because all of this, I've got a new panel to go in here anyway, because all of this, it was repaired years and years ago. It's rusted out, all the body fillers come out of it. It's all dented, it's stuffed in there. So, and I want to get rid of where the light holes were anyway, so I'm going to use the original tail lights on it, and they go in here. See where they've patched up the hole, but they'll end up sitting lower, probably about here. But yeah, I've got to, you know, sort that out. But yeah, so scoop this a bit more so it ends up out here. Put a cap on here to extend the guard, and then on the inside of the boot, because that there is the inside of the boot essentially, on the other side, I'll just weld a big patch in there so this ties back in with the structure of the boot and the quarter panel. So yeah, that's the fail, and how to remedy it. It's a lot more stuffing around and a lot more work. But overall, that'll achieve a much better look, and it does away with all of this anyway, which I was going to repair, but that was going to be if I had time, because I can always go back to it at some point in the future once it's the rest of the car's done. But might as well just smash it all out now, get her done, and yeah. So still in a mad rush to get it on the road, but now there's just more work and less time. So we'll see how we go. She should be right. I had a bit of hope the other day, and that got a lot more done in a few hours than what I would have been able to accomplish in a whole day. So, if we can carry on that sort of momentum, then she should be right. But yeah, that's how we're gonna try and remedy that. I did have a better one before, and then I accidentally deleted it. It was just a little bit more refined, and I had spats or fender skirts, wherever you're from, different names, but yeah, here's what it is. It's all good fun. Big fucking learning curve, especially when you roll it out, because in here it looks fine, in the shed it looks fine, besides the holes. But once you roll it out and you can stand 20 feet away, 20 meters away, you start to find where things aren't right. Proportionally, it didn't look right to me. So yeah, I have to move the pillars forward, which means no doubt I'm gonna have to do a few more repairs on the sill on the passenger side to get it good enough that I can weld the pillar back in. Because yeah, she's pretty rusty on the other side. But yeah, I'll do that. That'll be a day's work, just getting the pillars right and then the roof moved forward. Then I can tack the roof into place and get her all welded up, get the doors done, and then just focus on this and the catwalk. And yeah, that'll be the body done. And it's the fun part of extending the front end, which, just for shits and giggles, the front end originally on one of these is about that long. So you can see just how much mine's been extended out. It's pretty crazy. So yeah, a lot of work ahead and no time to do it. Good fun.